Today's episode is brought to you by Path 11 TV, inspiring entertainment for the spiritually curious. With a Path 11 TV membership, you get instant access to over 100 hours of exclusive video content that explores consciousness, healing, and life after death. Also with the Path 11 TV membership, you can attend our monthly events and live streams free. In the past few months, we've already had medium readings with Drew Calley and Suzanne Northrup, along with a numerology session with Nicene Siegel, and Chinese face readings with Marla Goldberg. Join us for our next event, July 21st, for another gallery reading, this time with medium Mark Schmidt. You can start your Path 11 TV membership for just $9.99 a month, or get 2 months free by getting an annual membership. Podcast listeners can save even more by using coupon code PODCAST30. This will take 30% off, making your first year only $70. That's only 20 cents a day. Don't hesitate, because this offer is only good for a limited time. All membership plans have a 7-day free trial. So start streaming with your membership to Path 11 TV today by visiting path11tv.com and start satisfying your spiritual curiosity with our exclusive library of inspiring entertainment. Now let's get to today's show. Hi, and thanks for tuning in to the Path 11 podcast. I am your host, April Hanna. At the Path 11 podcast, we are here trying to deliver leading-edge research on consciousness, healing, and metaphysics. And just like you, we are trying to answer the big questions about life. Who are we? Why are we here? And what is our purpose? We hope by listening to our podcast, it will make each day you live on Earth a little easier to understand. And now for today's podcast. Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to the Path 11 podcast today. I'm very excited about this episode because it's something that we haven't really talked about before. The guest today is Dana Parker, who will be joining me. She's the co-founder of Inner World Movement, and she's been on the ground floor in 2 previous personal development movements training other leaders. She's a highly qualified life coach with over a decade of experience in coaching thousands of clients all over the world. She specializes in navigating life change and emotional intelligence. So when I read about Dana's background, one of the things that really intrigued me that she teaches on and coaches on is, I'm going to try to pronounce this right, the Oponopono prayer. And I have said that wrong all my life. So
okay, most people do.
Yeah.
Totally okay.
Yeah, so that's really what the topic is going to be about today. Now, before I introduce Dana, I will tell you a little bit about how I first came to learn this. It was at a sound bath healing in a yoga studio. And we were doing this sound bath, and that at the end, the teacher started to bring us into this meditation and visualization. And I'm in like this really cool, relaxed state. And then all of a sudden he says, okay, now I want you to imagine someone that you've had conflict with. And I want you to imagine them right there in front of you. And they're standing in front of you, and feel the emotions that you're feeling. And then I think he had us look out through their eyes, back at us. And he instructed us during this meditation to say this prayer: I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you. And at first, when you are imagining someone that you're really angry with standing in front of you, to have to summon those words, I love you, I'm sorry, forgive me, thank you, I was like, what? No way. Get me out of this meditation right now.
Yeah.
However, I stayed open, I gave it a try, and it has been probably one of the most powerful things that I've ever learned to do. I have seen real-time results with this, but I don't know a whole lot about what I'm doing. So, Dana, that is why I asked, will you please talk to us about this prayer and let us know what it's all about? So give us a little more background about you first. How did you become to be this life coach and, doing all that you're doing with the Inner World Movement, and give us some background.
Yeah, thank you so much. And thank you for sharing a little bit about your background with Oponopono. And I always love hearing people's stories and their experiences with what we're talking about. So thank you. A little bit about me. My journey started 12 years ago. And 12 years ago, I was in a lot of emotional turmoil. I was emotionally eating, binge watching Netflix and spending most of my days on the couch. And I had 2 little boys, and I was overwhelmed. I'm a highly emotional person, and I was never taught what to do with emotions. I actually felt like I was one of those people too, like growing up, that I was like the life of the party and the light one and the fun one. And so when I had low times or when I was burdened by these emotions, I felt like a bad person. And there was a lot going on. I had childhood trauma that I hadn't dealt with, and so much that was just bogging me down, weighing me down. And I know there's a lot of people out there that can really relate to that. And so I started to wake up. I started, for the first time in my life at 23, I started to share what had happened to me as a child. And it broke open this whole dam of emotions that I had kept hidden. And it sent me on in this spiral of, flashbacks and chaotic emotions and, judging my emotions. And there's so much to it. And I really needed help and support. And so I started looking into all different kinds of healing. I did therapy for a little bit and then started into some personal development and found such an empowerment from understanding what I'm feeling, why I'm feeling it, and where it's coming from, and then how to work through it and rewire my brain. And so, 12 years now, and I don't experience the effects of the sexual abuse I experienced as a child, which is, to me, like, I'm so, my whole heart is so happy to be at this place. I just want to share it with everyone. So that is why I got into coaching, is because when I learn things, I cannot help but just share with everyone. And I want to share it, and I want to love people, and I want to empower them. And I think I was just born this way. And so I stepped into a personal development company, made my way into the company, and started training and teaching along with my own personal healing journey. And I've worked for 3 different companies and been on the ground floor of many, and thousands of people coached, and all over the world, which is fascinating because there's a common humanity among all of us with these kinds of emotions. Emotions are part of the human experience, and the foundational ideas that we carry are universal. I remember one week there was a woman in Japan, a woman in Switzerland, and Italy that all were dealing with the same thing, feeling weak as women. I was blown away. And so this common humanity of these emotions, I feel like I'm here to teach people that emotions are our greatest teachers. They don't define us. They don't make us bad. We are not the thoughts we think or emotions we feel. They are our teachers. And so it put me on my path, and I've always dreamed of having my own company, and beginning one actually came to fruition back in October. So that's when I co-founded Inner World Movement, and it's been a beautiful journey since.
Awesome. Well, congratulations with that.
Thanks.
And so Inner World Movement, while we're just on the topic of it, tell me a little bit more, like what does your company do? And clearly it's probably a lot of some of the coaching that you were doing in these other organizations, but now you're the boss.
Right. Yeah. So it is, I am bringing a lot of different tools. What's beautiful is when I learn something, I always get these intuitive ways to make it, even better for myself, for my own healing. And all the tools that I teach actually came from their outside influences, but they came through me, and I adjusted them in a way for myself through intuition to help, cater my healing for myself. And so it's been a really beautiful journey of learning these things and really intuitively feeling into, okay, what is my journey of healing? Because no one person out there is going to have the right answers, all the right answers for me. It's my journey. And so what's beautiful now is I'm bringing, this 12 years of experience of all this wisdom, understanding, and I call it emotional education tools. Emotional education tools, I feel right now is such an important time in history to be teaching people about emotions, and to be teaching people about what emotions are and what to do with them and how to manage them. Anxiety, depression are at an all-time high, and it's because people don't know what to do with emotions. Yeah. And they don't know how to manage them and what they are. And some people don't even know how to name them or identify them. And so the whole idea is inner world movement is the inner world healing that we all need for the outer world results that we're looking to have. Every goal that we want, every outcome that we want to have in our life is preceded by our actions. We know that. Well, what precedes actions? Emotions and thoughts. And so we have to be aware of those to be empowered to get the outcomes we want in our life. And so that's why I'm so passionate about teaching people, because they can get their dreams and goals so much faster with so much ease if they'll get into the emotions of it.
Absolutely. Yeah. And so many people, if they are able to identify them and see them and feel them, I feel like some of the human experience is to try to push them away, people are scared of them. They're afraid if I go into my grief, I'll never come back.
I remember that. Mm-hmm. Yes. I mean, the first time I actually opened up the box of that abuse that I'd stuffed for years, I felt like a puddle. Mm-hmm. I felt so scared that I would never come out. Yeah. And because I hid it away on purpose. So I remember that. And there's so many beautiful things now that I'm so grateful that I had the courage to do that, to dive in, to wade through that. And it did. It took years to unravel that, but I would come up for air and then go back in. And I learned so much along the way. And that's why I'm so passionate about helping people now. So,
yeah. And I can share in your excitement when, you've gone through a traumatic event and it has stayed with you for years and it's something that you've avoided. But then when you turn to face it and you heal it, and then you're like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm not affected by this anymore. I know what you mean. Like, come on, everyone, let me teach you.
Let's do this. Come on, you guys. It's so much fun.
Right.
Yeah, no, yeah. I love it.
Yeah. Because, when you're in it, you can't even imagine a world without the trauma, without the feeling of it, without the constant thoughts, the flashbacks, this, that, or the other thing. It's almost like the trauma can be like this friend, in a sense that is always there and is with you. But when you're ready to let go of that relationship, there's a sense of freedom, and it oozes out of you, I can see, that it's just, you want everyone to feel that.
It can be so hard along the way too, because there's no end point of do this many years of this and then you're done. No, healing is just an ever evolving journey. And so that's why I think the power of having a coach or a mentor can be so valuable to keep you going, to cheer you on, to say, you're doing it. Good job. I know that heal was hard. That those emotions, that wave that you just went through was so hard, but you're doing it. You're doing so good at this human thing, to keep you going. And now, I look back and I'm like, I got tenacious. I said, I am sticking to this until I see the healing. No matter what, I'm going for it. And I think that's what it takes to work through years of trauma. Is like that commitment of I'm in. And it doesn't mean you have to be going all go all the time emotional. No, take breaks, have fun, enjoy the journey, celebrate how far you've come. But it can be a fascinating journey. And I think we all need to support each other in it.
Yeah.
We need some encouragement.
Definitely. So let me know how you work this prayer into the work that you do, how it helped to heal you. I clearly have been pronouncing it Oponopono, which is right the way. And you had explained it's Oponopono.
Yeah. So it's ho. So there's the H-O apostrophe, and then there's the big O. So ho-o, and then pono-pono. Ho-o-pono-pono. And so it can be a hard word. It really is. I have to consciously break it down sometimes too. But I want to mention this first because I think it's really valuable and important that Ho'oponopono is an ancient Hawaiian healing technique. And there's lots of different versions that have come over the years. And I want to give credit where credit is due, that there is the original version of Ho'oponopono is a little bit different than this modernized version that we're going to talk about today. So if you want to, those listening, you can go online and do a little more research about the origination of it to give respect to the Hawaiian ancient techniques. But this really is today what we're talking about is the foundation from Dr. Hugh Len and Joe Vitale and the combination of their teachings. That's mainly where I've studied from, and where I've gleaned, this wisdom and ideas from today. So I just wanted to preface with that because I think it's respectful and important.
Great, thank you.
So Ho'oponopono, really the breakdown, and where the story, where the legend really broke out was with Dr. Hugh Len. And the legend is, and the story is, that he was able to heal a criminally insane ward of individuals without ever actually meeting them face to face, utilizing these beautiful words. And I want to say words paired with emotions. The emotions are actually the most important part, because the emotions are where the healing comes from. And so I want to just kind of break this down. There's 4 statements in just the foundational Ho'oponopono. And it is, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. And those are the things. And just like you said at the beginning, what we're doing here is you're sending those words, you're wrapping those words. If you can, I like visualizations. I'm such a visual person, but you're sending those words along with those emotions into those different parts you are calling for love and healing. Maybe it's an experience you're sending it to. Maybe it's a person you're sending it to. Or you're putting out there. And what this does, when you put that emotion into it, there's an actual, what's happening is emotions rewire the brain. If you look up Dr. Joe Dispenza, Joe Vitale, Joe Dispenza, there's lots of Joes. Joe Dispenza, he has so much great work behind emotions rewiring the brain in live time. He has so many cool things about that, but the emotions of it are actually the power of the rewiring. And this is one of the things that I think is most important and helped me the most in rewiring my brain with the abuse that I experienced. When I started to utilize these types of prayers and this information, and when I'd have flashbacks, it would be hands on my heart, which engages your parasympathetic nervous system that helps calm the body, and repeating those phrases. I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. And at first, for me, for real trauma where there's people involved, it's a great first step is sending it to the experience itself. Because sometimes it's hard to send it to the person. Right. That's like another step. Just like you said, it can be a challenge and it can feel unsafe. And so going into sending it to that experience, and what that translates into, and I want to take this maybe just a little bit further, is to yourself. I'm sorry. I'm sorry you had to go through that. You were so little. Please forgive me. Forgive me for carrying this for so long. Thank you. I love you. I love you. Thank you for enduring that, for still being alive, for being here. Everything you went through. It's really surrounding yourself in that self-compassion for the experience you went through. And so there's that aspect that I find so valuable in the healing process. And if you can do that for yourself, then what's so powerful is it loosens things up, so that when you get into the experience and you actually are ready to forgive the person, it's easier. There's more of a flow because you know you're safe. You know you have you. You know that you're going to offer yourself compassion and you forgive you for your part. That's really important. Your part only. And in some of these circumstances, like I was little. I don't really have, I don't find myself in a space where I'm like, I'm totally accountable for all the abuse I experienced. No, I'm accountable for what I carry now, what I still carry now in this moment from any experience. Does that make sense?
We just wanted to take a quick break to talk about our sponsor for today's episode, Path 11 TV. Not a fan of watching videos on your computer or laptop? Neither are we. That's why we recently launched the Path 11 TV app for your smartphone and TV. Now you can watch on your iPhone, iPad, and Android devices. Or if you prefer to wind down in your living room, you can now watch on your Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire devices. For listeners of the podcast, the easiest way to get started is by pointing your web browser to path11tv.com and starting a 7-day free trial. But be sure to use coupon code PODCAST30. Again, that's PODCAST30 to take 30% off of an annual membership for maximum savings. Once your membership is started, visit your smartphone or TV's app store and download the Path 11 TV app. Once downloaded, you can then link to your newly created account and start streaming on the go or relaxing in your living room. Visit path11tv.com for all the details. I was just thinking, like, even if we're young, like you were saying, I'm sure people listening would be like, well, how do I hold myself accountable when I was so innocent and, was not, I didn't have a part in this. But where I went was, but we make these soul agreements before we come in.
Yes.
So you can maybe apologize to yourself for the fact that, you're holding yourself accountable because you agreed to come in to have this experience.
Right.
And that's where maybe, you can hold that accountability.
Absolutely. And I too really believe in that. And I think there's so much value in the healing process when you can go to that place and say, there was a reason why I chose this. What is it? Mm-hmm. I want to know. I want to glean everything I can because that was so hard and so difficult. Tell me why I agreed to this so that I can learn, powerfully move forward and teach other people. That's my process. And, that experience, the childhood abuse, actually is what catapulted me into my whole mission. Why I'm here, to teach, uplift, and inspire, to give hope and love and joy. Like, this is it. And it's taught me so much, and it's deepened my empathy. My ability to sit with another human in that kind of pain is so great now. And I deem those spaces some of the most sacred experiences on the planet that we could experience. Being in those spaces with another person where the pain is so real and so deep. And so all of those things, like, they drive me. They're like the beautiful golden nuggets from those experiences. And I think that is such a valuable perspective too on the healing journey, to go there and say, soul agreement. Yep. What is this?
Right. Yeah, exactly. Now, do you know, like, with the history that you said, like within the Hawaiian culture, do you have any idea why they chose these specific phrases? Like, couldn't it just be like, I'm sorry, please forgive me, or I'm sorry, I love you. I'm sorry, I love you. But it's just interesting when you really put these 4 sentences together, how powerful it is. Do you have a little more of the background in history as to why, or like, how did they come up with that and why was that chosen? And
I don't actually. That's such a great question. I'm sure there's lots of information on the internet that you can look at, but I would imagine that bringing these things together, there's certain vibrations that certain words hold for us, certain it evokes certain emotions from us. And so, as it was created, I can imagine that as it was brought together, these certain phrases were the things that evoked the emotion that brought together the most healing. I'm sorry. That's like taking that accountability. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Asking for that forgiveness. Thank you. Thank you. It's that gratitude. Gratitude opens the heart up and opens it up to healing. I love you. Love is just one of the most powerful vibrating emotions, such a high vibrating emotion. So that would be my best guess. Yeah. And I'm sure there's more great information online.
Yeah, when I think of the word sorry, it's vulnerability. It's like you're allowing yourself to be vulnerable, to be humble. We have love in there, the forgiveness and the gratitude. So I think you broke it down perfectly. But it's just so powerful. So you use this to heal, your sexual abuse experience. Yep. Once you, overcame that, what are some other areas of your life that you've been able to use this prayer for it to, help you and benefit you? What are other ways?
There's so many beautiful things. Yeah, there's so many beautiful things. You can use this for anything. There was a time where I actually got note cards. So I'm a huge fan of writing things down. I think writing things down engages your body. It puts things in place where it's like, okay, I know what my focus is, and it gives your mind something to focus on. So there was a time where I wrote down actually on note cards the things I wanted healing in, and I wanted to feel more love, compassion, abundance in. So money is one of them that I've used. My bank account, visualizing and seeing my bank account, and using Ho'oponopono. Also healing generational scarcity, generational wounds around money. A lot of us maybe are connected to the Great Depression generationally, and those things can be passed down. And so money is one area. My body. I've been on such a beautiful journey with my body lately. I'm a 6-foot woman, and I've always been really tall and always been very defined by my body. And as women, this is something that is in our culture and that we all struggle with. But I will often use this just to give love to my body. Thank you for the transformation you're going through. Thank you for getting me from place to place. Please forgive me for any mistreatment. I'm so sorry for any mistreatment. And I love you. I love you. Thank you for everything you do for me, and just really stepping into that space with my body. So money, my body. Also, emotional eating. Emotional eating was something I really struggled with for a long time. And so utilizing this prayer with food even can be such a powerful way to go about it. I've used it in relationships, put my children's names down, maybe children that I'm having a hard time with at the moment, putting my children's names down. And so I write it on note cards, and then I like to hold things to my heart, because it does something, and it really engages me in so much love. And so holding those cards to my heart and utilizing, I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you, thank you, over and over. And again, remember, it's not just, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. It's not up here. It's not a mind thing. It's a heart thing. Add all the emotions in it. Bring out your compassion, love, everything you can. Here's the really interesting thing too that I want to mention. We can cultivate and grow our ability to feel emotions. So the more you practice being in that state of love, gratitude, and expand it as big as you can, maybe even visualize, a bubble of love, of gratitude, thank you, of forgiveness around you, see that growing, and add your energy to it, you can grow those emotions, which is beautiful, because then you're growing your ability to feel more, to feel those beautiful emotions more. And so that's something that I have found really fun and inviting for me to keep practicing, because there's no limit to gratitude. There's no limit to joy or love. Just grow and expand your ability to feel it.
Yeah. And so can you also explain how it affects others? So like, say we are working with this prayer with relationship. And like you said, the story that you shared in the beginning, that it was done by, what was the man's name again?
Dr. Hugh Len. Yeah.
Dr. Hugh Len.
Hugh Len.
And so he's saying this prayer for people that have committed really, horrible acts of crime, and that these men were able to heal without him ever seeing them. So what happens? What's the energy exchange?
Yeah.
And how is that possible?
I love this. No, this actually became a real life experience for me years ago, when at the time, my mother-in-law, I actually was really struggling in my relationship with her. And, I always said, if you could create somebody that I actually would have a hard time getting along with, because it's so rare, it would be her. And so I dedicated 3 weeks actually to writing positive things about her, qualities I do like, and then used the prayer. And it was so powerful what happened. Because within that 3 week block, she actually wrote me an email. And I hadn't talked to her at all. I hadn't said a thing to her in person. She wrote me an email and for the first time said, I love you. Thank you for what you're doing for our son and how you support him. And it was actually really touching for me to have that experience. And I believe that we're all very connected. You know, those of us that maybe have a higher power that we're connected to, I always think about this. How do we feel that love? Like if you call it God or the universe, or, you know, everyone talks about, oh, I feel the love of God, or I feel the love of the universe, or I feel that support. How do you feel that? How do you know? Because we're connected. Same thing with person to person. We're connected. How do you feel that love from another person that you know loves you? You know, and there's lots of different ideas that you can answer that with. It's a feeling, it's an emotion, and you can send that to anyone, anywhere, anytime. And so utilizing this to me is so powerful, because what we're saying is I'm sending this kind of energy to this person and it comes back. And here's what I want to say to that I think is really valuable and important. Agency is always involved. So you're sending it out and it's basically a gift that they can accept or not. My mother-in-law happened to choose into the gift. Mm-hmm. Some people may not, but remember, this really isn't for them. The end result of healing is not if they come back and say, I love you, or if they come back and say, I'm sorry. The whole point of healing is for you. The whole point of forgiveness is for you. It's your own inner peace, your own inner well-being. And when you can come to peace with that within yourself, then it gives every opportunity for them then to heal themselves. And so I think that's a really important thing to note for anyone listening is don't wait for those outcomes of how they show up. No, the outcome is inside you.
Absolutely. Huge message there, you know, and because I think that's what we're all striving for is inner peace. It never feels good to hold anger and to stay angry at someone for years, or to be resentful about a situation. It really does disrupt our inner peace. And
it takes up so much energy.
Yeah. And many times when I talk to forgiveness about my clients too, it's about, I say the same thing. It's like, don't be attached to the outcome of how you think this may go. Or even when we do letter writing, you know, to people that may have, you know, hurt us and stuff, and they may never get that. It's all about for you to be able to live more peacefully. And that's why, you know, this prayer, you know, can be practiced, and some miraculous things can happen. You are not the first person that I have heard that has done this prayer, was working on a specific relationship with someone in their life, and that other person like turned around and like reached out, you know, or hadn't in years, or they apologized first. Like there's something pretty magical about the interconnectedness that you talk about. So yeah. And you know, your example is really powerful to show that it really can happen, but may not always, like you said. Yeah. But that's not the end goal. The end goal is your inner peace.
Yep. That is the joy of it.
Yeah. Oh, Dana, thank you so much. This was a lot of fun to talk about this. And now I know how to officially say it correctly, which is good. And so why don't we close on out and letting people know where they can find you, you know, your offerings and the stuff that you have going on. So if they'd like to reach out to you, that they can do so.
Yeah, I'd love that. So innerworldmovement.com is our website, and you can find more information about me and our movement there. We are a new company, and so it's ever evolving and changing. So go back often to the website. It's a beautiful place. It's going to be growing and expanding over this next year. One of the things I'm really excited about is I do have some spaces for coaching available for one-on-one, and we're launching for the first time our first group coaching program. So announcements are coming out about that. We just put a teaser out yesterday that I'm so excited about. And the group coaching is called Reclaim You, Your Own Universe. So it's coming back to that space. Sometimes we can get so lost in everyone else's opinions and ideas and how we're taught culturally and religiously and all these other things outside of us. And this whole program is designed to empower people to come back to center, to self, and to build a life with confidence from yourself, from the inner knowing that guides you. And so I'm super excited about that coming. We're going to launch the 1st of September. So those are the offerings right now. Those are the things that we have. If you feel drawn to come visit us, please reach out. We love when people reach out. We love connecting. And there's just so many opportunities to have beautiful experiences. Or if you know somebody who's interested, if you think of somebody in this moment as we're talking of, oh, this friend could use that, or this friend, send them our way. Yeah. I'd love to take really good care of them, love them, and support them.
Awesome. And let Dana know that you heard about her from the Path 11 podcast.
Yes.
I just love our listeners. I love it when I get emails all the time from our guests who are like, oh, thanks so much. The interview was great. And I already had people calling me and booking sessions, and somebody's taking my workshop. I mean, our listeners are awesome. They don't just listen to the podcast. Like I feel like they really use our podcast as like a library and a resource. Yeah. And then they go and they find you guys after they hear. Beautiful. And so I am sure you are going to meet a couple of Path 11 podcast listeners.
Beautiful.
Yeah. And so maybe closing out, we can just ask our listeners and those who are watching on Path 11 TV, why don't you guys just take a moment, and Dana, why don't you lead them through putting their hands over their hearts and say the prayer?
Yeah, I love that. Thank you so much. All right. If you can, and you're in a safe space to do so, just find a place to sit comfortably for just a few moments and take some deep breaths in. Go ahead and close your eyes and place your hands on your heart. And I know this last year, so many people have been going through so much emotionally. So many challenges, so many things to overcome. And so today we're going to use the Oponopono prayer for self. So I invite you just to really get into that space of checking in with you, your heart, your mind, your energetic field around you. Just tune into this last year, the journey you've walked. Just notice if there's anything that you're holding on to in your field, in your body, in yourself. It might come up as a visual, it might just be a feeling, a knowing. Maybe someone's face pops up. Just become aware of those things. Set that powerful intention to let go of everything that's ready to go today. Take one more deep breath in and out. And repeat these words with the paired emotion. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for the hurt I've carried, for the pain, for the experiences, for the decisions I've made that maybe I didn't really want to. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Really tap into that emotion of self-forgiveness. Forgiveness for those experiences that were hard. I love you. I want you to take a deep breath in and expand as much as you can self-love. After all, you're doing so good at this human thing. You're doing the very best you can with what you have. The fact that you're still here, you're still walking, you're still moving forward in your life is such an accomplishment. You're learning great things. Even from the hardest things come the most beautiful gifts of wisdom. I love you. And last, thank you. Gratitude. Just feel gratitude for your journey in life so far. Every step you've taken, every path you've walked, all the wisdom you've gained so far. Gratitude. Let that gratitude swell and open your heart. Just see yourself in your mind's eye giving yourself a pat on the back or a hug. Gratitude. You're doing so great. Take one more deep breath in and just let all of that energy settle in to every fiber of your being, down to the level of intelligence within you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. Just see as that integrates to your core, strengthens you. And see now as you can move forward more powerfully, lighter, happier, with more hope. A hope is an expectation of good things to come. Know it's going to be a good day. And when you're ready, take one more deep breath in and you can open your eyes. Beautiful.
Yeah, so beautiful. Thank you so much for taking us through that. What a beautiful way to end. So Dana Parker, thank you so much for being here with us. Thank you everyone for listening. And I hope you accept this gift of this beautiful prayer that Dana gave you today. And I hope that you guys will use it in your life to transform your life, your relationships, and your experiences. So thank you. And thank you everyone for listening today. Take care, everyone. Thanks so much for tuning in to today's show. If you haven't already, please subscribe and rate and review the Path 11 podcast in Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. Also, this podcast is made possible by our sponsor, Path 11 TV. Visit path11tv.com to start a 7-day free trial and start streaming over 100 hours of exclusive video content on consciousness, healing, and life after death. That's path11tv.com, and be sure to use coupon code podcast30 to take 30% off your annual membership. Start satisfying your spiritual curiosity with a membership to Path 11 TV today. Bye for now.